In the terrifying world wrapped in the flames of the abyss, the eyes of the abyssal dragon demon opened again. Damn it, the law of broken stars, how could it be the law of broken stars? This deity remembers your aura, and when this deity recovers, I will surely slaughter you all over the house. The abyssal dragon demon roared wildly, and with its roar, the demons in this world trembled and did not dare to move. But there are still a large number of demons killed by his roar and turned into nourishment for his recovery. A huge head sticks out from the flames of the abyss, and one can see that there is a terrifying depression on the other side of the head. A small half of the dragon's head was smashed into pieces. Moreover, there was a tyrannical force entangled in the wound, which made his injury impossible to recover for a long time. These forces not only eroded the wound, but also eroded the soul. The devoured demons can only be regarded as a drop in the bucket for the abyssal dragon demon, and they are more than enough. After roaring for a while, the abyssal dragon demon shrank back again. The hatred in its eyes was already monstrous. The world has once again returned to peace. Jukiwu didn't know that the main body of the abyssal dragon demon couldn't move at all, so he killed the clone of the abyssal dragon demon without any hesitation. As the main controller of the human race in this war zone, from the 1st to the 10th, the Tianzhou Starry Sky Fortress can be said to be under its control. Just now, with the help of 10 Starry Sky Fortresses, he broke through the restrictions of the Great World Law. Although it only has the power of one blow, and cannot use spells. But it is more than enough to deal with the abyssal dragon demon who is also suppressed by the laws of the Great World. After Zhu Qiwu returned the starry sky bead to Yu Qingru, he stepped aside, not making light bulbs. In Zhu Qiwu's scene, only Lin Moyu and Yu Qingru were left behind, and the two of them seemed a little embarrassed in the silent starry sky. Lin Moyu is grateful to Yu Qingru in his heart. Although Yu Qingru is very powerful, it will still be dangerous when he comes to the source of Jingguo. So Yu Qingru has been looking for it in the 4th star Jingguo group, and has not left. But for her own sake, she came here without hesitation. This love, Lin Moyu wrote down. After a few seconds of silence, Lin Moyu spoke first. Thank you for notifying me. Yu softly said in a low voice, I didn't know that the abyssal dragon demon would follow and almost killed you. Lin Moyu shook his head and smiled. He wants to kill me. It's not that easy. Have you found the ultimate essence? Yu Qingru's pretty face suddenly collapsed. I found the colorful fire before, but it failed. It's just that the princess's spells are too strong, and the 5-color fire is not enough. I need 6-color or 7-color fire. There is no other way now. I can only wait for this princess to become a god king in the future, and then come back to look for it. Yu gently glanced at the source of the spirit fire. The stellar spirit fire here is too fierce. She is very dangerous here. If it wasn't for informing Lin Moyu this time, she wouldn't have come if she was killed. While speaking, Yu Qingru's body shimmered, as if a layer of glass was broken. Immediately afterwards, the clothes on Yu Qingru's body began to burn. Yu softly exclaimed, immediately took out a small white pearl and crushed it. A stream of water covered the whole body and extinguished the flame at the same time. Yu said softly, this is indeed not a place for me to stay now, I have to leave. She can stay here for a while by virtue of the pearl, but she can't stay here for too long. If there were no pearls, the scorching heat alone would be enough to burn her to death. Wait. Lin Moyu stopped her. Yu Qingru smiled like a flower. What's the matter? Is there anything else I can help you with? You haven't repaid the previous favors, so I'm afraid you will owe them again this time. Lin Moyu chuckled. How many jingmi do you still need? Yu Qingru stretched out her figure, and smiled even brighter. Why, you want to give this princess a fine fire? Lin Moyu nodded, and asked again, how many flowers are still missing? Yu gently stretched out 3 fingers. 3 fingers. Lin Moyu hummed, got it. You go back to the Jingguo group of the 4th star and wait for me, and I will come to you when I find Jingguo. Yu Qingru's eyes lit up. Really? Real? Well, this princess will believe you once. Yu Qingru activated the starry sky bead, and a space door opened in front of her. Yu Qingru stepped into it and disappeared. Zhu Qiwu flew over from a distance. The chat is over so soon. I thought you young people would chat for a while longer. Lin Moyu laughed. Thank you senior before sex. Zhu Qiwu waved his hand. It's a trivial matter, not worth mentioning. Now that your technique has been sublimated, are you going to return? Lin Moyu said, I promised Yu Qingru that if I want to help her find the 3 colorful fires, I may need to stay here for a while. Zhu Qiwu smiled meaningfully. Yisheng is sad about the beauty pass. Lin Moyu couldn't laugh or cry. Why did this serious and serious senior suddenly become unserious? 0 for flowers. Unexpectedly, Zhuge Wu's dishonesty did not stop there. He continued, boy, should you consider marrying the princess of the Starry Sky Murloc clan? It is said that the Starry Sky Murlocs are very special. Zhuge Wu spoke seriously, but Lin Moyu felt that he was old and not serious. This senior seems to be a little bit different. Lin Moyu thought to himself, not daring to reveal anything on the surface. Senior, Yu Qingru and I don't have that relationship. Zhuge Wu chuckled, I'm serious, many races want to marry the Starry Sky Murlocs, and this race is really special. They have special physiques, and they can increase the speed of cultivation after forming a Taoist companion. It's a pity that that woman is the princess of the Starry Sky Murlocs. She has a noble status, and at the same time she has mastered the laws of space. I'm afraid it will be difficult to get her to marry, but if you marry, the human race will not let you go. But it's not impossible. Zhuge Wu's chatterbox was opened again. Really like an old man, he began to babble. Lin Moyu had no choice but to let it go, and flew towards the stellar fire group. He was going to look for the colorful fire. Even if he promised Yu Qingru, he would naturally find it. In addition, look for the flashing fire, and look for the flashing star on the way back. It is true that all the techniques have been sublimated, but my physical body is far from reaching the limit, and I can continue to improve. Now that we have come to the source of the fine fire, the number of flash fires is the largest here, and the effect is the best, so naturally we can't let it go. At some point, Zhuge Wu's nagging stopped. He seemed to think of many ways, but all of them were wrong. Lin Moyu was full of helplessness. He could tell that this senior didn't want to draw a red line for himself at all. He simply wanted to squeeze Yu Qingqing and himself together. The purpose is not for them to become Taoist companions, but to use the special physique of the Starry Sky Murlocs to enhance their own strength. In the final analysis, it is still for the consideration of the human race. Zhuge Wu even thought of tying Yu Qingru over. The problem is how not to be discovered by the Murlocs in the Starry Sky, and how to do it in a watertight manner. Lin Moyu was really speechless. The former didn't seem to care much about something called the bottom line. I was lucky this time, and it only took 10 days to get all the 3-colored fire. Then Lin Moyu began to look for flash fire here, and began to strengthen his physical body. 7. In the source of fire, there are dangers and opportunities. In addition to the large number of fine fires, which will produce fine fires of more than 5 colors, there is also flash fire. For most races, a flash of fire means death. So people here are cautious, even wearing powerful defensive magic weapons. With the power of the magic weapon, I can occasionally withstand the impact of the flash fire. However, there are often people who are burned to ashes by the flash fire, and their bodies disappear without even leaving their bodies. But for those who practice the physical body, this is a holy place, but in the big world, there are too few people who want to cultivate the physical body. Like Lin Moyu, there are very few people who actively look for the flash fire. It took half a day to find a flashing fire, and Lin Moyu rushed over quickly, waiting for the flashing fire to appear. Zhuge Wu followed from a distance, and said jokingly, I have already found the colorful fire, why don't you send it to your little girlfriend? This attitude is not acceptable. 500. Lin Moyu has black lines all over his head. Senior, she is not my girlfriend, and I have a wife. Zhuge Wu chuckled, you know it yourself. Clear shit. Lin Moyu deeply felt the kindness of Antares. The Dragon Clan's way of speaking is straightforward, without so many twists and turns. Zhuge Wu, a senior who looks very serious but is actually very dishonest, really makes him a little speechless. Before the flash fire appeared, the shell suddenly lit up again. Yu's soft voice sounded in the soul, I have something to do, I'll go back to the clan first, and I will keep the fine fire for this princess. Although the tone was calm, Lin Moyu heard something unusual from it. Yu Qingru seemed a little unhappy, not knowing what happened. But she also said that the fine fire was reserved for her, so it shouldn't be a big deal. The worry Lin Moyu had just raised disappeared. Keep the fine fire, and give it to her next time we meet. This time, there is really no need to worry. Zhuge Wu seemed to sense the change in Lin Moyu's breath. Did something happen? Lin Moyu shook his head. It's nothing, Yu Qingru has something to do, she's gone to the Hui family. Zhuge Wu let out an "oh," and didn't seem to be surprised, finally went back, she shouldn't have come out. Ah. Lin Moyu looked at Zhuge Wu with some puzzlement. Zhuge Wu chuckled, want to know? When you enter the city of God, you will know. In other words, this unscrupulous old man is a bit annoying. Lin Moyu said in a deep voice, Shencheng is not easy. Zhu Qiwu said in a deep voice, this thing is difficult to say, but it's easy to say, and it's very simple. The city of God is huge, the key is where you can go after entering the city of God. However, these things are still early for you, so don't worry. He really wasn't in a hurry, he settled the matter before him first. When the flash fire appeared, the internal organs seemed to be burned by flames, and they were extremely hot. The impurities between the internal organs are quickly burned, and the internal organs become stronger. Flash fire not only burns the body, but also burns the soul. It's just that when the body completely blocks the burning of the flash fire, the soul will not be affected. If you can't bear the attack of flash fire, and when your body is burned, flash fire will burn your soul and turn your soul into ashes. Lin Moyu completely withstood the burning of the flash fire, his soul was not affected, and his internal organs became stronger again. Next, Lin Moyu began to search for the flashing fire to strengthen his physical body. Zhu Qiwu tirelessly followed Lin Moyu, like an elder, admiring the process of the younger generation getting stronger. With the help of the shell's guiding effect, in the next 30 days, Lin Moyu found a total of 18 flashing fires, and experienced 16 physical body burns. The other 2 times, because they were one step late, they did not succeed in enjoying the effect of flash fire body training. However, because of this, he unexpectedly harvested 2 6-color fine fires. The number of 6-color fine fires in Lin Moyu's hands has reached 42, and there are 3 7-color fine fires. Not to mention anything else, just these 42 6-color fine fires are quite a huge fortune. Not to mention, in Lin Moyu's hand, there are still 20,000 ordinary stellar fires. Zhu Qiwu murmured, when I was at your cultivation level, I didn't have such wealth. It's just that the old man wasn't decisive enough to kill, he didn't kill enough. Lin Moyu's eyelids twitched, is this what he wanted to kill? Those guys came to their door looking for death, he must kill them. Zhu Qiwu said this, as if he had become a murderer without blinking an eye. It's hard to say if he was a murderer, but Lin Moyu couldn't remember how many people he had killed for a long time. During this time, Lin Moyu has mastered a new skill, which is to selectively ignore what Zhu Qiwu said. Some words can be listened to, and some words should be forgotten. Lin Moyu whispered, Senior, I plan to return. On the way back, I will continue to look for the shining stars to strengthen my skin, flesh, and bones. The effect of the flash fire is no longer great, and the internal organs have almost been strengthened to the limit of the true God realm. At this time, there was an imbalance between the strength of the skin, flesh and bones of the physical body and the strength of the viscera. Lin Moyu planned to find the flashing star and continue to cultivate the inner body. You decide for yourself, you don't need to discuss with the old man. Zhu Qiwu showed that you can go if you want, he seems to be just a spectator, which means that Lin Moyu ignores him and treats him as if he does not exist. Lin Moyu actually just said, not asking for Zhu Qiwu's opinion. The light of the fire gradually dimmed, and the temperature also dropped rapidly. Looking at the source of the fire that was gradually going away, Lin Moyu thought to himself, I haven't met senior brother Zhu in this period of time. I don't know if he got the 6-color fire. Lin Moyu thought that if he met Zhu Jiangxing, he could give him some 6-colored fire. The 6-color fine fire is of little value to him, and Chia is not difficult to find. But for others, it is not easy. But I haven't been able to meet him recently, guessing that he may have found Jingguo and returned. Taoist Qingjin didn't show up either, Jian Yubijiu also went back. The Green Sword Taoist has perfected his skills, and he will start to break through when he returns this time. See you next time, maybe it will be the realm of gods. Generally speaking, as long as people who can go back alive, they will gain more or less. Lin Moyu calculated what he had gained from this trip. His cultivation has reached the 4th level of the true God, his skills are perfect, and his combat power is even comparable to the 4th level of the God Master. The harvest is much greater than expected. Now all that remains is to look for the flashing star and push the physical body to the limit. The shell played a huge role, why I don't know how much time was saved. With its guidance, it is not difficult for the group to find the flashing star. 1.8 Although the void is vast and boundless, the distribution of flashing stars is much sparser than that of flashing fire, but every few days, one can always be found. Lin Moyu was hit by a flashing star and flew uncontrollably for millions of miles in the void. Sometimes when it is knocked into the air, it will touch dark stars, or even more than one, and then it will be hit and crushed like a volleyball. Seeing that Zhu Qiwu was overjoyed, he burst out laughing. Lin Moyu sighed. He was also very helpless, but there was nothing he could do. Fortunately, as he was knocked into the air again and again, his physical body became stronger and stronger. The strength of the skin, flesh and bones began to approach that of the viscera, and the physical body gradually became perfect. After enduring more than 10 impacts, Lin Moyu found that the impact of Flashing Star on him became smaller and smaller. From the initial crash of 1,000,000 kilometers, it became 800,000 kilometers and 500,000 kilometers later. Until the end, Flashing Star could no longer knock him into the air. He can even use his physical body to face Dark Star head to head. With the continuous improvement of the strength of the skin, flesh and bones, it finally reached the same level as the viscera. The previous sense of division disappeared immediately, and the whole body felt a sense of unity, and the sense of strength was overwhelming. Even Lin Moyu felt like he could smash a star with one punch. It's not an illusion, but his real feeling. With his current physical strength at the peak of the true God realm, even if he doesn't mobilize any laws or use any spells, he has the mighty power to blow up the stars. Pure physical force, from quantitative change to qualitative change. Although there is no law, it is better than the law. Lin Moyu had a vague feeling that if the physical body could continue to be strong, perhaps it could really be like the legend that the physical body would be sanctified and invincible by all laws. Lin Moyu exudes brilliance all over his body. When he exerts his strength, flowing silver light emerges layer upon layer, like a galaxy waterfall, extremely gorgeous. The cultivation base of the fourth level of the true God, the physical body of the peak of the true God. Lin Moyu turned his head completely. The physical level surpassed the spiritual level. With a smile on his face, Zhu Qiwu was not stingy with words of praise. Not bad, not bad. The physical body has reached the peak of the true God, and it only takes a little chance to break through to the God King realm. Zhu Qiwu looked at Lin Moyu as if looking at a rare animal. There are very few people who cultivate the physical body in the human race, and those who have achieved it are even rarer. Lin Moyu is a rare breed. Lin Moyu knew that it would not take long for him to reach the God King realm. His flaming heart was beating vigorously, and the blood gushing out of it had a faint golden light. The body of flowing gold is the physical body of the God King realm. The physical bodies of the vast majority of gods are only in the realm of true gods. Only a small number of gods can reach the realm of God Kings physically, and they are often the existence of the peak of gods. Zhu Qiwu sized up Lin Moyu, and said, "You boy, the more you look at it, the more you look like a monster." Lin Moyu ignored Zhu Qiwu's words, and asked instead, "I feel that the physical body is strong, and there are many benefits. The increase in combat power is not small. Why don't we humans cultivate soul and body at the same time?" Zhu Qiwu sneered, "Do you think it's because you don't want to practice? It's because you don't have the ability and resources. Cultivating the physical body requires a lot of resources and treasures to achieve success. You think everyone can be like you, come to the flashing stars to cultivate the physical body. Here, let alone a true god, even if you are in the God King realm, being hit by a flashing star is enough. If you are unlucky, half your life will be gone. And the physical body will naturally become stronger as the cultivation level improves. Therefore, most people choose to cultivate the soul to make the physical body naturally strong. Lin Moyu naturally understands this truth, but he has his own thoughts. That's what I said, but I always feel that something is not right." Zhu Qiwu smiled and said, "There is nothing right or wrong. It is a good thing to be physically strong, and no one will refuse it. But if it can be naturally strong, it is almost enough. There are twinkling stars here, and you can cultivate your physical body, but the peak of the true God is the limit. If you want to continue to strengthen, then don't rely on other opportunities. That kind of opportunity is not easy to find. Think about it, you have worked so hard to cultivate your body to the peak of the true God. But after others have cultivated to the God, they will naturally have the body of the true God. It may not be as good as the peak of the true God. The difference will not be too much. In this way, tell me, who else is willing to work hard to cultivate the physical body?" Lin Moyu wanted to say something, but Zhu Qiwu didn't give him a chance, and continued to chatter. "I know what you want to ask, isn't it that the body is sanctified and all laws are invincible? How many people in history can do it? Go and check the information carefully. Those who can achieve physical sanctification are either born with a strong physical body, or have had adventures against the sky. Even among all the races, the Kanpeng clan with the most powerful physical body, not many people in their clan will practice the physical body. It is even more difficult for our human race. Hearing this, Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing bitterly. So, what I do is a waste of time. Zhu Qiwu shook his head and smiled. Of course not. The strength of the physical body has great benefits in terms of strength and future cultivation. It's just that it's not easy to cultivate the physical body, so everyone chooses a simpler shortcut. The truth of it, you will understand in the future, but now, you just follow your own path. What this old man can tell you is that at present, it seems that you are on the right path. Regardless of whether Lin Moyu understands it or not, this is the end of Yijawu's words. Lin Moyu nodded, with his own understanding and speculation in mind. In his view, soul and body are two different paths. There are differences between the two, but they also have connection points, depend on each other, and complement each other. If you have to choose one of the two, you will naturally choose the path of the soul. But if you can choose both together, it is naturally the best. So his path is correct, the soul must become stronger, and the body must also become stronger. The way back was much quicker than when he came. After more than 100 days, Lin Moyu returned to the 4th stellar Jinghua group. After a lapse of 1 year, the 4th star Jinghua group once again ushered in a new guest. The danger caused by the abyssal dragon demon has long been submerged in the long river of time. Lin Moyu passed through the 4th stellar Jinghua group and continued to return. On the next road, Lin Moyu's speed is getting faster and faster. Even he no longer needs the skeleton to open the way ahead. Even if there is a dark star, he will directly bump into it without stopping. Relying on the physical body of the peak of the true god, ordinary dark stars can't stop him at all. Either it was directly pierced by him, or it was smashed to pieces by him. The physical body of the peak of the true god can really destroy the sky and the earth. Smashing the stars is no problem. During this period of time, he also fully adapted to the changes brought about by the strengthening of his physical body, and his physical strength gradually became whatever he wanted. By the time he returned to the 1st stellar fine fire group, the manipulation of the physical body had been meticulous. Hanging far behind Lin Moyu, Zhu Qiwu nodded secretly, affirming Lin Moyu's ability to adapt. Returning from the most dangerous source of fine fires to the 1st stellar group of fine fires, Lin Moyu couldn't help feeling a little emotional when he saw the rare common fine fires. This mission, which took more than a year, was the longest of all the missions he had ever done. More than a year, even in his short cultivation career, is not a small amount. How time flies. Lin Moyu sighed softly. In the battlefield, the loss of time is no longer so accurate. Lin Moyu subconsciously wanted to check his panel. He remembered that his age would be recorded in the attribute panel provided by Renwang Network. But the check failed. There is no Renwang Network here, and the panel cannot be called up. Just have to wait until I get back to watch it. Silently calculated in my heart, it's almost 33 years old. Lin Moyu muttered to himself. His voice was very soft, but subconsciously, he still used the voice of the soul. In the starry sky, ordinary voices cannot be transmitted, and he has long been used to using the head of the soul. When something becomes a habit, it is very difficult to change it. His words fell into Zhu Qiwu's ears, and Zhu Qiwu's eyes suddenly shone with bright golden light. 33 years old. This kid is only 33 years old. By the way, it's true that I haven't checked his bone age. If it's really only 33 years old, the brat's cultivation talent far exceeds my expectations, and I'm afraid it will break the history of the human race. Zhu Qiwu's heart was turbulent and it was difficult to calm down. At this time, there was a burst of shouting from the side. Lin Moyu. A loud shout brought Lin Moyu's thoughts back to reality, and at the same time suppressed the shock in Zhu Qiwu's heart. Zhu Qiwu saw 3 young men and stopped in front of Lin Moyu. 3 races. The faces of the people who came here were not good, and the leader was obviously not hostile to Lin Moyu. How could that kind of hostile gaze escape the eyes of a 1,000-year-old spirit like him? Hey, there is a god behind him. It's interesting. Let's see how the brat responds. Zhu Qiwu's figure gradually disappeared into the void. With his strength, as long as he didn't take the initiative to reveal his figure, it would be difficult for others to spot him. Lin Moyu heard the voice sound familiar, looked at the person, and couldn't help laughing secretly. Why is it him? 3 people stood in front of him, less than a kilometer away from him. For a cultivator of the true god realm, there is not much difference between a kilometer and a meter. Xiao Shuyuan and Lin Moyu, who are the leaders, only met him once. This guy likes Gu Qingxuan, but unfortunately Luohua is ruthless. Gu Qingxuan didn't like him at all. For Gu Qingxuan, there was some conflicts between him and Xiao Shuyuan. It's not a conflict, it's just a disagreement. The big world is so big, I thought that the two sides might never meet again in this life. Unexpectedly, there is such a coincidence. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. What's the matter? Xiao Shuyuan sneered. I don't even call my senior brother. Do you understand etiquette? At this time, Xiao Shuyuan exuded the aura of the 6th level true god, which was indeed 2 levels higher than Lin Moyu. The human race is inherited from the emperor, so cultivators in the human race are often referred to as brothers and sisters. But this is not entirely the case, and there is no hard and fast rule. Now that Xiao Shuyuan said this to him, Lin Moyu felt a little funny. Don't you think you're a little naive? Xiao Shuyuan's expression changed suddenly. What did you say? A dangerous aura rose from his body, and a huge coercion radiated in the starry sky. The two people who were walking with him spread out silently, blocking Lin Moyu's way indistinctly. Xiao Shuyuan said, Do you still remember what I said? Without even thinking about it, Lin Moyu said bluntly, I forgot. Did you say something tilde? With Lin Moyu's appearance, he obviously didn't take Xiao Shuyuan seriously, otherwise how could he forget what he said? The fact is true, in Lin Moyu's eyes, Xiao Shuyuan is just a clown. How can I remember what this kind of person said? It's too tiring. Xiao Shuyuan's face became more and more gloomy. I said, don't let me meet you outside the human race. Lin Moyu thought for a while. It seems that someone told me that, so it was you. Boom. There was an explosion sound from the starry sky beside Xiao Shuyuan, and he clenched his fists tightly, as if he wanted to shatter the starry sky. Lin Moyu, you are courting death. Murderous intent rose from his body, his eyes became colder and colder. There is no Renwang network here, even if I kill you, nothing will happen. Lin Moyu still looked indifferent. So that's the case, so I can kill you too. Xiao Shuyuan laughed. A little crazy. Kill me, are you worthy? Lin Moyu looked at him and sighed softly. You should have been on the battlefield for a while. Xiao Shuyuan was slightly taken aback. He didn't understand why Lin Moyu said that. He has indeed been on the battlefield for a while. It should be said that he came to the battlefield after the last conflict with Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt that if he came to the battlefield recently, he should be able to know that he was on the potential list, and he would also know that he was taken away by the criminal police. As long as you are not an idiot, you can deduce your own history. I don't want to talk nonsense here and say some irrelevant things. Xiao Shuyuan stopped thinking if he couldn't figure it out, and said coldly, now I'll give you a chance, kneel down, and apologize to me. And then never see junior sister Gu, I can let you live. Kneel down. Lin Moyu sneered, for the sake of being a human race, I gave Xuanguang Shenjun face. You apologize to me now, and I can forget the past. I will pretend that I didn't hear what you said before. Xiao Shuyuan was laughed out of anger. In his opinion, Lin Moyu simply returned his words to himself intact. For the sake of being a human race, he even moved his grandfather out. What are you? My grandpa needs you to give him face. Courting death. Xiao Shuyuan shouted angrily, stretched out his hand and shot a white light, shooting at Lin Moyu like a sharp arrow. The law of mysterious light, ranked in the 2nd echelon. It is said to be a ray of mysterious light born in the starry sky. It has the characteristics of sharpness and is said to be able to pierce everything. In the 2nd echelon, the power of the Xuanguang law is moderate, neither strong nor weak. How strong the attack power is depends on the user. Lin Moyu didn't dodge or dodge, letting the mysterious light hit him. The skeleton armor on his body flashed out, blocking the Xuanguang attack. The bone armor gleamed, but was not broken. After the physical body reached the peak of the divine realm, its defense power increased significantly. To Lin Moyu's surprise, the bone armor is also much stronger than before. Lin Moyu thought of the initial attributes of the bone armor. At the beginning, the defense of the bone armor was determined by the physical attributes. Later, after it was sublimated into a spell, the defense power of the skeleton outfit became determined by the soul. Obviously, the influence of physique attributes on the skeleton armor still exists. It's just that this influence has changed from the bright side to the dark side. Both body and soul affect the strength of the bone armor. Xiao Shuyuan's Xuanguang law hit the skeleton armor, but failed to break the skeleton armor. The 6th level attack of the true god is really too weak for Lin Moyu. At the moment when the skeleton armor shone with dazzling light, Xiao Shuyuan suddenly surrounded him on the spot. The whole body was shrouded in white light, and then a layer of fine white bones appeared. The spell is linked, and the bone prison automatically counterattacks. In an instant, Xiao Shuyuan fell into a paralyzed state due to the paralysis effect of the bone prison. In addition to thinking in the brain, it is difficult to move the eyes. In horror, the skeleton fangs and the skeleton spear appeared at the same time, and exploded on Xiao Shuyuan's body. Accompanied by a scream that resounded through the starry sky, Xiao Shuyuan fell out of the white light, dripping blood all over his body. His whole body was full of wounds, and the holes were shocking. The flesh body was almost torn into pieces, hanging there like rags riddled with holes. Hi Mano, although cultivators pay attention to the soul, not the body. And physical injuries are also easy to heal. But the physical body is a container, and the collapse of the container is not a good thing for the soul. With the resilience of the true God realm, Xiao Shuyuan's current physical injury will not heal within a few days. In fear, Xiao Shuyuan took out a white pill and ate it. The whole body was immediately enveloped by bursts of light, and the wounds on his body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lin Moyu could feel that this elixir contained majestic vitality and laws. It should be the law of life. Lin Moyu saw it in his eyes, and his thoughts moved slightly. Xiao Shuyuan let out another scream, and the wound that had just begun to heal exploded again. The power of death from the law of immortality erupted, confronting the law of life in the elixir. Xiao Shuyuan's body became a battlefield of two laws. Amidst the roar, the two practitioners who came with Xiao Shuyuan shot at Lin Moyu at the same time. Lin Moyu looked at the two, still motionless. Although the two of them are stronger than Xiao Shuyuan, they are only at the 7th level of true gods. In Lin Moyu's eyes, shit doesn't count. The two took out their magic weapons, two sharp swords shining with cold light. Judging from the breath, they are all magic weapons of the true god realm. The sharp sword pierced through the starry sky and landed on Lin Moyu with a cold light. The skeleton armor emerged again. This time, the skeleton armor fluctuated a little, and there were some cracks, but it was still not broken. The two froze in place at the same time. They encountered the same experience as Xiao Shuyuan. But after all, his cultivation was one level higher, and his situation was much better than Xiao Xu's, and his injuries were much lighter. The three of them were frightened and didn't understand what was going on. Although they were born in the big world, they know a lot about the big world. But obviously, for a while, I couldn't think of it as a magic linkage. Zhu Qiwu, who was hiding in the dark, his eyelids twitched a few times. The defensive spells are linked. The brat has more than one set of multi-star spells. Zhu Qiwu only knew Lin Moyu's summoning spell before, which was a multi-star spell, and it was already very rare to have a set of multi-star spells. Unexpectedly, Lin Moyu is the second multi-star spell, and it is also a defensive multi-star spell. Not only is the defense strong, but the counterattack is also not weak. With the cultivation base of the 4th level of the true god, it can block the attack of the 6th level of the true god, and instantly severely damage the 6th level of the true god. If it is changed to the 5th level of the true god, I am afraid that it has been killed in seconds. Xiao Shuyuan and the others were trembling with fear. The two laws were fighting in his body, causing him great pain. He stretched out his bloody hand tremblingly. There were several holes in his arm, and almost half of it was broken. After finally controlling his arm, he pressed a jade tablet on his waist and squeezed it hard. The jade tablet exploded, releasing a bright light. A figure stepped out from the light. He was wearing a black robe, his skin glowed with black light, and every hair was shiny and bright, like stars in the night sky. Xuanguang Shenjun looked down at Xiao Shuyuan, a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. Who dares to bully my grandson? Xiao Shuyuan screamed, Grandpa, save me. He was in too much pain at this time, and the severe pain made him unable to even faint. The body seems to be exploding, and the laws are constantly fighting. Xuanguang Shenjun stretched out his hand, and a beam of light fell on Xiao Shuyuan. He wanted to use his own law to disperse Lin Moyu's law. Xiao Shuyuan let out a scream. Xuanguang God Venerable is very powerful, but no matter how powerful he is, he still uses his body as the battlefield. Although the law of immortality is strong, after all, only the real gods can help the people who are not Xuanguang gods. The law of immortality was quickly expelled, and the elixir that Xiao Shuyuan took before finally took effect and began to heal the wound. It's a pity that after the battle just now, the effect of the elixir has weakened a lot, and the wound recovery speed is a bit slow. Xiao Shuyuan took out a few more pills, took one more by himself, and distributed the other 2 pills to his companions. The pain subsided, Xiao Shuyuan heaved a long sigh of relief, and had the illusion of escaping from heaven. Xuanguang Shenjun saw that his grandson was fine, so he asked, "What happened?" He said to Xuanguang Shenjun, "Grandfather, help me kill him." He pointed at Lin Moyu, murderess. Xuanguang God Venerable looked at Lin Moyu, seeing that it was a human race. He did not strike directly, but said in a deep voice, "You were the one who injured my grandson." Lin Moyu shook his head. "I didn't do anything, it was your grandson who hit me himself, but was injured by my sleepiness." Ha! Xuanguang God Venerable turned his head to look at Xiao Shuyuan, and said in a deep voice, "To be honest, is it so?" Xiao Shuyuan trembled all over, and replied submissively, "Although I did it, but—" "Enough!" God Xuanguang shouted in a low voice, interrupting Lin Xiaoxuan's words. After Xuanguang God Venerable shouted, Xiao Shuyuan suddenly shut up, not daring to speak. It can be seen that Xiao Shuyuan is very afraid of his grandpa. Xuanguang God Venerable saw the other 2. "Tell me, what happened just now, don't hide anything." "Obey." The 2 are the disciples and grandchildren of the Xuanguang God, and they dare not disobey the master's order. Immediately, I said everything just now, which was fair and objective. Lin Moyu really didn't do anything, and they were only counterattacked by spells. Lin Moyu thought to himself, it seems that Xuanguang God is still a reasonable person, and he didn't favor his grandson. In 2 or 3 ACFF sentences, Lin Moyu has somewhat figured out the character of Xuanguang God Venerable. Maybe his temper is a bit domineering, after all, he is a god, so it is understandable. But it's not unreasonable. When he saw that he was a human race just now, his aura was obviously weaker. Thinking about it, it shouldn't be that kind of unreasonable person to be friends with Yifeng Shenjun. God Xuanguang figured out what had happened, and shouted at Xiao Shuyuan, "You 3, get back immediately and don't stay outside." The faces of the 3 of them turned pale immediately, knowing that they would be punished after they went back. Xuanguang Shenjun cast his eyes on Lin Moyu, stayed on Lin Moyu for 2 seconds, and looked beyond Lin Moyu to the void behind. Xuanguang saw Zhu Zhenshao. Zhu Qiwu appeared from the starry sky, without the slightest smile on his face, and returned to his usual serious appearance. Even his body exudes a faint coercion, one can tell that he has been in a high position for a long time. Zhu Qiwu looked at Xuanguang God Venerable, "I haven't seen you for many years, and this fellow Taoist Guang's cultivation has improved again." Xuanguang God Venerable sighed softly. Compared to Zhu Zhenshao, Xuanguang is just the light of fireflies, which is really nothing. This incident is Xu Yuan's fault. Xuanguang is here to apologize to Xiaoyu on Xu Yuan's behalf. The apology is just talking about it, and I have heard of the king. A dignified god, how can he really apologize to a true god like Lin Moyu? If you encounter an unreasonable deity, in this place where there is no human sovereign network, it is not impossible to kill them directly if they disagree. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. Senior joked, "It was just a small misunderstanding." It's just a small misunderstanding that makes Sun fall into a sea of love and can't extricate himself, just go back and figure it out. Xuanguang Shenjun frowned. He could hear that there was something in Lin Moyu's words, obviously there was something else hidden in this matter. Xiao Shuyuan didn't mention the reason for this matter before, only that he had a conflict with Lin Moyu. Since he didn't speak, Lin Yu spoke for him. There is no need to elaborate, as long as you click a little, I believe that Xuanguang Shenjun will naturally understand. Xiao Shuyuan's face turned pale and became even uglier. Through Xiao Shuyuan's reaction, Xuanguang God Venerable had already guessed his grandson, and there must be something he didn't tell himself. He couldn't help snorting softly, turned his head towards Zhu Qiwu and hugged his head. Zhu Zhenshao, the old man will go back first, and we will have a chance to drink tea and discuss the Tao in the future. Zhu Qiwu nodded, okay. God Venerable Xuanguang waved his hand, and a bright light enveloped the 3 of them, and then turned into a stream of light and shot into the depths of the starry sky at an astonishing speed. Before he left, Lin Moyu found that Xuanguang God Venerable glanced at him intentionally or unintentionally. The ancient well in the eyes does not waver, seems to have a deep meaning, but can't tell why. After they left, Lin Moyu said to Zhu Qiwu, "Thank you, senior, for allowing me to act like a tiger." Zhu Qiwu chuckled, "I didn't do anything." Lin Moyu laughed, "As long as the seniors are here, that's enough." Lin Moyu knew very well that the reason why Xuanguang Shenjun was so reasonable was that he would talk to himself in a good manner. In addition to Xuanguang Shenjun's own personality, there is Zhu Qiwu present. In fact, Xuanguang Shenjun had discovered Zhu Qiwu when he first arrived. That's why he will be polite to Lin Moyu afterwards, otherwise he will slap himself to death. As for whether it can be shot to death, that's hard to say. Lin Moyu is still so frightened by the projection of a god, with the combat power of the God King. He can also take the corpse powder of the second avatar of the Abyssal Dragon Demon, and fight to the death with Xuanguang God Venerable. You don't have to say that, it's just a god's projection, and it's not like you can't handle it. Zhu Qiwu smiled slightly and cast a look. That meaning seems to be saying, if others don't know you, how can this old man still not know you? Lin Moyu remained humble. Anyway, there is a senior here, and God Xuanguang is willing to explain the truth to the junior. Zhu Qiwu pondered for a second. Actually, Xuanguang is not bad, but he spoils his grandson too much. Fortunately, you didn't kill him, otherwise this matter would be a bit troublesome. Lin Moyu asked strangely, God Xuanguang only has one grandson. Zhu Qiwu smiled and said, that's not true. Xuanguang's family is relatively large, with many descendants. It's just that Xiao Shuyuan has a good talent, and he values it more. No wonder. Lin Moyu rejoiced, no wonder Xiao Shuyuan got the Jade Medal of Protection from God Xuanguang. As far as he knew, the God Venerable spread his blood widely, took multiple wives, and spread his branches and leaves. The purpose is to pass on the blood of the gods. Normally speaking, it is normal for a deity to have up to 10 or 8 daughters. As for grandchildren, there are even more. It is normal for some gods to have descendants, hundreds of thousands, or even families of 10,000 people. The further the inheritance goes, the lower the blood concentration will be. It is not difficult for the sons and daughters of gods to become god kings, but it is also not easy to become gods. As for the grandchildren, there may be problems with becoming a god king. But there are always exceptions to everything. If there are many descendants, 1 or 2 geniuses will always appear and become gods again. Similarly, there are many descendants, and it is impossible to take care of all of them. It is very difficult for ordinary descendants to meet Xuanguang God. Only those with strong talent like Xiao Shuyuan will be respected by Xuanguang God, and even bestowed with a jade medal for body protection. Similarly, while gaining the respect of Xuanguang God, there will also be requirements for his cultivation. If Xiao Shuyuan's performance is not good and he cannot inherit the mantle, he will eventually be given up. Families like this abound in the human race. Not cruel, just realistic. No way, the big world is so realistic. In the family, you can talk about family affection, but when you go outside and meet other races, you only look at the strength. Lin Moyu returned to the outpost, and then teleported back to No. 5. Zhu Qiwu did not come back with him, but had already parted at the outpost. They didn't say a word to each other, and they didn't say goodbye. Lin Moyu is grateful to this senior who guards the Suzaku battlefield. Although Zhu Qiwu was initially entrusted by Lord Zhu Tianyu to protect himself secretly. Afterwards, it was no longer in the dark, but in the open and upright, protecting himself and solving some troubles for himself. Otherwise, just being the second avatar of the Abyssal Dragon Demon will cause serious trouble, and it's really hard to say whether he can get out completely. Hey, junior brother Lin, you're back too. Zhu Jiangxing's voice interrupted Lin Moyu's thoughts. Turning around, he saw Zhu Jiangxing walking slowly. He is still as rich as jade, like a young master. Lin Moyu already knew that Zhu Jiangxing did not come from the Suzaku starfield, but came out of the City of God to practice. His temperament is also different from others, Lin Moyu has noticed since the first time he met Zhu Jiangxing. At that time, he felt a little strange, thinking that Zhu Jiangxing was a child of a certain big family, but he didn't have the arrogance of a child of a big family. It was later learned that Zhu Jiangxing came from Shencheng. This also made Lin Moyu yearn for the human god city. Lin Moyu showed a smile, and did brother find the essence? Zhu Jiangxing sighed, I found a 6-color fire, and I fought with someone, but I didn't. Looking at his appearance, it seems a bit pity. But Zhu Jiangxing is still hearty, even if he loses, he still doesn't feel discouraged. Lin Moyu asked, then senior brother Zhu didn't continue to search. Zhu Jiangxing didn't hide it either, I was injured a little bit at the time, and was targeted by a foreign race. To be on the safe side, I came back first. It's nothing serious, after a while I'll break through to the God King realm, and then I'll go. Lin Moyu asked. Senior brother Zhu still lacks a few 6-color fires. Zhu Jiangxing stretched out 2 fingers. It's still 2 flowers away. It's hard to say. It's not easy to say, but you can find it. Fortunately, it is a 6-color fine fire, unlike the green sword Taoist, who needs 7-color essence to extinguish. 0. Ask for flowers. Lin Moyu also only has 3 colorful fires, all of which are prepared for Yuqingru. As for the 6-color fine fire, there are 42 of them. Heartbroken, Lin Moyu took out a storage device. Brother Zhu, this is for you. This is. Zhu Jiangxing took it with doubts, and after checking it, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he was a little shocked, and his breathing also became rapid. 6 colors fine fire. For example, 5-color to 7-color fine fire can be born in the source of fine fire. Most of them are still 5-color fine fires, and a small amount of 6-color fine fires, like the best 7-color fine fires, are rare existences. Zhu Jiangxing went to the source of the fine fire, and what he was looking for was the 6-color fine fire. I found it, but unfortunately I lost the fight and was injured. Originally, he was planning to return to the source of the fire after his injury healed and he broke through to the God King realm. Unexpectedly, Lin Moyu gave himself 2 6-color essence fire directly. After hesitating for a few seconds, Zhu Jiangxing pushed the storage device back to Lin Moyu. Junior brother Lin, keep it for yourself, I can look for it again. Lin Moyu didn't answer, and said with a smile, Brother Zhu, you don't have to be polite, my skills have been sublimated, and the 6-color fire is useless to me. The 6-color fire is not a rare treasure. Even if you don't use it, you can get a lot of points back by selling it. But Lin Moyu gave it to herself so directly, and Zhu Xing is not a hesitant character. Then you're welcome as a brother, thank you, junior brother Lin. Zhu Jiangxing said heartily, put away the 6-color fine fire, and at the same time took out something and sent it to Lin Moyu. This piece was obtained from a secret realm when I was performing a mission in the City of God. At the time, I felt that this object was a bit extraordinary, but after many years of research, I couldn't figure out why. This time, I will give it to junior brother Lin as a gift in return. I hope junior brother Lin will not refuse. Reciprocity, Lin Moyu was not polite, and took the things that Zhu Jiangxing sent over. The extraordinary thing Zhu Jiangxing said was a square metal block. It looks like a piece of iron, but it looks like gold again, with golden light flowing. Sometimes copper yellow and silvery white can be seen. From different angles and at different times, you will see completely different colors. When Lin Moyu touched the metal block, the infinite fusion magic star in the soul world jumped violently for 7. Infinite fusion, this is not the first time that the magic star has reacted. When fighting against the curse of the big world rune before, it took the initiative to attack and devoured all the power of the curse attached to various spells. The law of chaos seems to have the characteristics of absorbing all things and containing all things. Now it responds again, conveying the meaning of wanting this piece of metal iron. Lin Moyu remained calm on the surface, and said to Zhu Jiangxing, since this is the case, then I will be disrespectful. Seeing Lin Moyu accepting it, Zhu Jiangxing was very happy. Brother, I also know that this thing is not comparable to Liukai Jinguo, but brother has nothing, so I will thank Lin Moyu again in the future. Lin Moyu shook his head. Brother Zhu is too polite, we don't have to be so clear. After separating from Zhu Jiangxing, Lin Moyu looked at the strange metal in his hand and walked into the teleportation array again. From Fortress No. 5 back to Fort Number 1, the teleportation was 30,000 light-years long, along the edge of the battlefield, after several transfers, and crossed half of the Suzaku battlefield of 100. There were footsteps and voices in my ears, and the breath of the same clan came. Fortress Number 1 has a trading center and a mission center, and there are many practitioners here. At the same time, Lin Moyu felt that he had re-established a connection with Renwang network. In the world of the human race, I am used to the existence of the Human Emperor Network, but after leaving the coverage of the Human Emperor Network, I am really not used to it. There are many figures in front of him, and the information of a person is revealed from the front. True gods and god kings are not uncommon here. You can even see gods occasionally. Lin Moyu hides part of his information, only revealing his realm and cultivation. Go straight to the mission center. The first thing to do is to hand in the mission. On the way, he took out the small iron block that Zhu Jiangxing gave him, and used the detection pressure. Whether there is a Human Emperor Network or not, you can use the detection technique. But in places where there are people on the internet, the accuracy of the detection technique will be higher, and the information obtained will be more comprehensive. Lin Moyu didn't know why this happened, anyway, it was the case. There may be layers involved that he doesn't understand. In the small world, the detection technique is so magical, and it is still the same in the big world. The detection technique returned a result that surprised Lin Moyu. Unknown substance, a new substance that has not been discovered yet. If you find it, you can report it to the Human Emperor Network, and the Human Emperor Network will reward you according to the function of the substance. Detectives don't know what this piece is. Think about it too, if the detection technique can know, then Zhu Jiangxing can know too. Lin Moyu felt that he had made a fool, and couldn't help showing a wry smile. Is this counted? I was smart for a lifetime, but I was confused for a while. He doesn't even know what the detection technique is, and he can't research anything, so he simply collects the soul directly. Since infinite fusion, Shufa is interested in it, let's give it. Infinite fusion, Shufa sensed the small iron block, and immediately stretched out many law lines, dragging the small iron block back. The law of chaos surrounded the precious metal, and Lin Moyu could feel that the magic star of infinite fusion shook. Lin Moyu stopped and stared at the small iron block. After a while, he found that a corner of the small iron block seemed to be a little rounded. It was originally a cube with sharp corners, but now one of the corners has become rounded and no longer sharp. It seemed to be melted a little bit. Lin Moyu checked again and again, and determined that it was the melted part, which should be absorbed and fused by infinite fusion. Infinite fusion, the spell contains the law of chaos, which can absorb and fuse any spell substance. It can be said that it is the most magical item among all the spells of Lin Moyu. It's just that the melting speed is very slow, and it seems to take a lot of time. Perhaps, after it is completely absorbed and melted, infinite fusion will undergo some changes. Lin Moyu withdrew his attention, looked up at the mission center not far away, and walked in. Many people in the task center were handing in the task, and there was a long queue at the place where the task was handed in. Many tasks here require manual processing, so the speed is relatively slow. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, and quietly lined up at the end of the line. He thought about what he gained from this mission. His cultivation base has improved, his combat power has increased, all the spells have been sublimated into stars. Killed many alien races, harvested a large number of stellar fine fires, and many six-color fine fires. In addition to completing the task of collecting fine fire, he also killed Luo Fei and completed a task of offering a reward. This mission has been very fruitful. While summarizing this harvest, Lin Moyu is also thinking about the next task and which one to do. The team gradually moved forward, and after an hour, it was finally his turn. The octagonal task counter has a total of 8 staff members who are responsible for task review. These 8 staff members are all soldiers, wearing military uniforms, exuding the unique temperament of soldiers. They are unsmiling and straightforward in their work. Lin Moyu put the battlefield card on the counter, and at the same time took out a storage container, which contained a star extinction. At the same time, he reported his mission, Fortress Number 5, Mission No. 38, Collect Stellar Fine Fire. Please wait a moment, the company is starting to verify. The staff simply hung up Lin Moyu's battlefield card and began to verify. A ray of light was projected from Renwang Network, which landed on Lin Moyu. The whole process is no different from the verification task in Terran. Lin Moyu continued, in addition to this, there is a second task, the reward list task. I killed the Flying Wing clan, Luo Fei, who ranked 88th on the reward list. The staff just hummed lightly, saying that they had heard what Lin Moyu said, and continued with his work. The style of the army is decisive and neat, without too much nonsense. Lin Moyu, who has been in the army, knows this very well, so he is not surprised at all. They are highly effective and give quick results. Your task has been verified and completed. The task of collecting stellar fine fire is completed. Reward 5,000 points, 10 military merit. Kill the 88th place in the reward list, the Flying Wing clan Luo Fei. The verification is successful, and the reward will be 2,000 points and 200 military merits. The points and military merits have been credited to the account, you can check it yourself. In addition, it is detected that there are other records of killing aliens in your battlefield card. You can go to the military merits to settle the settlement. You can also settle the settlement together when you leave the battlefield. The staff returned the battlefield card to Lin Moyu. The information on Renwang Network has changed slightly, and the military achievements and points have already been credited to the account. Thanks. Lin Moyu took the battlefield card, turned and left. He didn't stay in the mission center, he left the mission center directly, quickly found a deserted place near the mission center, and sat down quietly. While completing the task before, he received a message from Renwang Network 1.9. It has been detected that your serial task has been completed. Renwang Network is evaluating your task, please wait a moment. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry, quietly waiting for Renwang Network's evaluation of him. He knew that his evaluation would not be low, and that each of his tasks was completed in a state of perfection, or even beyond perfection. According to different evaluations, Renwang Network will release different follow-up tasks. Normally, the higher the evaluation, the higher the difficulty of the follow-up tasks and the richer the rewards. The lower the evaluation, the worse the task, or even interrupt the task directly. The serial mission is also called the ticket mission of the City of God. Once the mission is interrupted, it means that you have no chance to enter the City of God in this life. I don't know what task Renwang Network will give me. If the next task is to be completed in the human world, it seems that I will go back early. The tasks given by Renwang Network are various, and there is no accurate set of statements. Lin Moyu considered that if the task given by Human Emperor Network is to return to the human world to complete, then he can only go back first. The City of God is his goal, so the serial mission is currently his primary goal. This is also the reason why he did not continue to accept battlefield missions. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, the Renwang Network finally sent another message. Your chain task, 1, evaluation has been completed. Task evaluation, 100. Note, out of 100. Dart posting follow-up tasks. Chain task, 2, complete 3 of the following 5 items. 1. Guide a super god from the small world into the big world, complete registration, evaluation and other matters. The higher the evaluation of the super god you receive, the higher your score will be. 2. Kill one of the top 10 enemies on the reward list. The higher the rank of the character you kill, the higher your score will be. 3. Complete 5 battlefield missions. The higher the degree of completion of the battlefield missions, the higher your score will be. 4. Accept the task of guarding the challenge field of the Emperor's Arena, fight 100 games, and the higher the record of winning streak, the higher your score will be. 5. Accumulate military merit. Accumulate enough military merit. The higher the military merit, the higher your score will be. Please choose the third. The task will start after the selection is completed. The second chain task is subdivided into 5 separate parts. The first item is to lead a super god. Lin Moyu is too familiar with this task, and he was led here. It seems that Gu Qingxuan chose to carry out this task at that time. This task is the safest of the 5 tasks, but it depends on luck. If I was lucky enough to attract a genius, the score of the task was very high. If you lead an ordinary super god, the score will not be much higher. He just ignored it at a glance. He was not interested in this kind of luck-based task. Lin Moyu has his sights set on 4 other missions. The second task is to kill the top 10 enemies on the reward list. Opening the reward list, Lin Moyu looked at the list on the reward list. This list also has restrictions, corresponding to several other lists. The one ranked first was named Finks, who belonged to the Hell Demon family of the Demon family, and his cultivation base was the 5th rank of Kanda. The second one is called Gu Limo, who is also a demon clan, belonging to the Abyssal Demon family, and his cultivation is the 4th level of God King. The 10th name is Yinwomo, still a demon family, belonging to the Hell Demon family, and his cultivation is the 2nd level of God King. In the top 10, none of them are lower than the God King realm. Looking down one by one, 6 of the top 10 in the reward list belong to the demon family. The reason for this is mainly because the Vermilion Bird starfield is bordered by the demon race, and there are many conflicts between the 2 sides. And this list is only the reward list of Suzaku starfield. If you look at the reward list of the whole starfield, there will not be so many demons. But from this list alone, Lin Moyu can see that there are indeed many enemies of the human race. The human race was once weak, and was regarded as a piece of fat by many races. It's a pity that this piece of fat hardened and broke their teeth. After recording all the top 10 players, the question before Lin Moyu is not whether he can win or not, but how to find them. The vast sea of stars, 10 demons, is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Looking down the list, Luo Fei, who was ranked 88th, had disappeared and was replaced by another name. The list remains unchanged at 100 people, and it seems that there are many substitutes. Lin Moyu wants to do this task, but it depends on the chance. As long as he can meet it, he can complete it. Continue to look at the third task. The third task is for him to complete 5 battlefield tasks. The collection of stellar fine fire completed before is not counted in it, and it needs to be done 5 times. This is in line with Lin Moyu's original intention. He still wants to stay here for a while. The battlefield is a good place to hone, and the opportunities are extremely rich. Lin Moyu prefers to make big strides in battle rather than retreating to practice and comprehend the laws. At the same time, Lin Moyu also had a guess. He is now in the battlefield, and the chain of missions given to him by Renwang Network asked him to perform battlefield missions. If he is outside the battlefield now, will this mission change? Renwang Network has never been rigid. Lin Moyu has long felt that Renwang Network is very adaptable. He even faintly felt that Renwang Network might possess wisdom. Continuing to look at the 4th task, Lin Moyu showed a smile. So that's what happened. The 4th task is to be the ring guard in Renwang's network. Isn't this the task that Chu Sheng and Zhuangbai are doing? To defend 100 games, Renwang Network will arrange suitable opponents for itself. This task is not difficult for myself, just guarding 100 games. In the same realm, Lin Moyu is never afraid of anyone, absolutely crushing. From another perspective, this task is not challenging at all. Based on his understanding of Renwang Network, this kind of non-challenging task, even if it is successfully completed, the reward evaluation will not be much higher. Skipping this task for now, Lin Moyu looked to the 5th task. Accumulate military merit. The 5th task is to accumulate military merits. There is no regulation on how much military merits should be accumulated. I don't know when the mission will end. This task is very general, without specific restrictions. Based on Lin Moyu's understanding of Renwang Network, the more this is the case, the higher the upper limit will be. The key is that this task is extremely free. Lin Moyu likes the feeling of freedom. Suddenly he had a choice. With a twitch in his heart, his consciousness hooked Renwang Network. I choose the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th tasks. With Lin Moyu's choice, the content of the serial mission, 2, in Renwang Network has changed 180 immediately. Chain mission, 2. 1. Kill one of the top 10 enemies on the Suzaku Starfield reward list. Status, unfinished. 2. Complete 5 battlefield missions. Status, unfinished. 3. Accumulate military merits. Status, unfinished. The task prompt seems to be very simple, without too many specific instructions. Lin Moyu understands the meaning of Renwang Network. It is specially set up like this. As the level of cultivators increases, the world they face becomes larger and larger, and the degree of danger becomes higher and higher. Renwang Network exists like a nanny, so it is impossible to explain everything clearly. After going through the novice period, many things need to be thought about by yourself, and you can't rely too much on Renwang Network. Renwang Network should also change from a nanny to an ordinary auxiliary tool. Lin Moyu thought about it carefully, and there were some connections between the 3 tasks. The top 10 enemies on the reward list may appear on the battlefield. 5 battlefield missions will also encounter hostile races. Killing them can accumulate military merit. And the final task of accumulating military merits seems to be a convenient task. From this point of view, it is possible that when I complete the first 2 tasks, or after I leave the battlefield, the task of accumulating military merit will be settled. This is just speculation, and it can only be said that there is a certain possibility. Lin Moyu felt very interesting and full of interest. There are also many people in the military merit department. Many people hold battlefield cards and settle their military exploits here. The role of military merit is too great. Not only can you increase your military rank, you can use it to buy some special items, and you can even exchange it directly for tickets to enter the City of God. There are many cultivators who will lose their qualifications to enter the gods if they fail in consecutive missions due to some accidents. However, the road to the City of God is not completely cut off. They can accumulate military merit, and use enough military merit to directly exchange for tickets to enter the City of God. But Lin Moyu also heard that there are still some restrictions if you want to exchange your military achievements for tickets to the City of God, and you can't just exchange them if you want. I haven't learned the specifics yet. Anyway, this is not my first choice. Lin Moyu lined up honestly. No one would make noise here, and no one would jump in line. There was a whole row of soldiers next to them, armed with swords, with a cautious aura. Unless you are tired of work, you will make a fuss here. Even if it is a god, you don't dare to mess around here. Although there are many people in line, fortunately, the speed is not slow. After queuing for more than half an hour, it was finally Lin Moyu's turn. Similar to the situation in the mission center, a soldier took over Lin Moyu's battlefield card, and at the same time, the light of Renwang network shot down from the top of his head, covering Lin Moyu. The soldier who received the battlefield card has the cultivation base of the 9th level of the true god. He looked at Lin Moyu with a slightly weird look, and a hint of disdain. After all, Lin Moyu's cultivation base is too low, the 4th level of the true god. He can only be regarded as cannon fodder on the battlefield. Such cannon fodder has a very high mortality rate, and it is difficult to obtain a lot of military merit. Normally speaking, a person with Lin Moyu's cultivation level is more suitable for doing tasks in the Terran star field, rather than coming to the battlefield. But when he exported the records in the battlefield card and conducted statistical verification through Renwang network, he was taken aback on the spot. He couldn't help but turned his head to look at Lin Moyu, just meeting Lin Moyu's eyes. Eyes met, Lin Moyu asked, "Any questions?" The soldier shook his head, "Nothing." He turned to look at Lin Moyu's record again, apparently a bit puzzled. Those who died at the hands of Lin Moyu were all the peaks of the true gods, and even god kings. Lin Moyu saw 5 planets on his epaulets. In the Terran army, planets represent warriors. 5 planets are 5th-tier fighters. This is a Tier 5 warrior with military merits between 5,000 and 6,000. The 5th-tier fighter seemed to understand something, and the confusion in his eyes disappeared at the same time, replaced by a trace of contempt. After the battlefield cards were settled, he returned the battlefield cards to Lin Moyu, and his gaze followed. Feeling his gaze, Lin Moyu added a trace of contempt amidst the disdain, and wondered in his heart, is this person sick tilde? But Lin Moyu doesn't want to conflict with this kind of person. After all, he represents the army. It's just a look, it's not necessary. You have killed 5 people of the 6th level of true gods, 4 people of the 7th level of true gods, 12 people of 8th level of true gods, and 9th level of true gods. In the realm of true gods, a total of 2,300 military merits have been obtained. Hearing his words, Lin Moyu frowned suddenly, with displeasure in his eyes. This person's voice was too loud, as if he deliberately wanted to tell the people behind him about his record. This is your own information and it shouldn't be. He hadn't done that with others before. He did it on purpose. I don't know why he would do it. Lin Moyu took a deep look at him, remembered his appearance, and took the battlefield card. At this moment, Lin Moyu noticed that the eyes of some people queuing up behind him had also changed in their eyes. There is a trace of disdain in the eyes of some people. Is this drawing hatred for myself? I don't know him, why would he do this? Could it be that I really met a lunatic? Lin Moyu was a little puzzled, and decided to stay away from the madman. Just 2 steps away, I heard someone say gloomily, he's another guy who relies on his elders. This sentence is neither serious nor serious, just happened to be heard by Lin Moyu. Immediately Lin Moyu understood why this happened. Dare to feel, they regard themselves as the kind of people who rely on their elders. It is true that some people relied on the elders in the family to beat those enemies who were higher than themselves to the brink of death, and then handed over to the younger generation to make up for it. This can indeed accumulate military merits quickly. But if you do that, you will be severely punished once you are discovered. In fact, they also exploited the loophole of being on the battlefield without the human emperor's network surveillance. If it is in the human world, this kind of situation does not exist at all. Lin Moyu knew, and he was regarded as that kind of person. But does it matter? Lin Moyu was determined and unaffected at all, and came to the side to exchange items. Now his military merit has reached 5,510, and his military rank has also risen to the 5th level fighter, which can be exchanged for some things. When he first came to the battlefield, Lin Moyu also had military merits, but he hadn't completed the mission and didn't activate the exchange function. If you want to exchange military merits for items on the battlefield, you must first complete a mission before you can activate this function. The military's supplies are limited, and if you can't complete even one mission, you are not eligible to exchange items. The trading desk of military merit is almost the same as the trading desk in the trading center, except that one trades with military merit and the other trades with points. Lin Moyu has seen many military items, and there are indeed some differences. There are high-level warning beads in the military, one for 1,000 military merits, which can detect enemies within 1,000,000 kilometers. Compared with the warning beads in the trading center, which only found the enemy race within 10,000 kilometers, the effect would be multiplied many times. Warning beads hang at the top of the list, which is also the most purchased item. Lin Moyu didn't buy it, and it's not easy to earn military merit. He killed so many enemy clans, and all of them were not low in cultivation level, so he only earned 2,300 points. Calculated, each head is only a dozen or 20 points of military merit, and it is estimated that the head value of those god kings will be higher. And military merit is not like points, and the use of points does not affect authority. If the military merit is lost, the rank will be lost directly. Lin Moyu recalled some of the military merit regulations, which seem to be very similar to the military merit regulations in Small World. It cannot be said that they are exactly the same, but at least 70% of them are similar. Just like the regulation of losing military rank, the same is true in the Small World. This also caused those who wanted to accumulate military ranks to dare not spend money. If it doesn't work well, it will fall directly from non-commissioned officer to soldier. Lin Moyu quickly scanned the item list, and some items not only required military merit, but also required military rank. It can only be purchased when the military rank is reached. He, honors, is now a 5th-level fighter, and there are not many things he can buy. Luckily Lin Moyu doesn't have much demand. One of them caught Lin Moyu's attention. Streaming back to City Card, consumable, after activation, it will be teleported back to the nearest outpost at a speed of 100 light-years per second. Effective distance, 10,000 light-years. Restrictions, can't be used in locked space, can't get out of the enchantment, can't. Price, 500 military merit. Because it is a consumable, the price is not high. And it also has restrictions. When using it, the space cannot be imprisoned, it cannot be in the enchantment, and it cannot be in the formation. It's simply for driving. If there is him, there is no need to waste so much time when returning from the source of fine fire this time. Lin Moyu bought 2 sets directly. The trading desk shimmered, and the military merit was reduced by 1,000, and 2 delicate jade plaques appeared on the trading desk, exuding the same aura as the teleportation array. Suddenly, a big hand stretched out from the side, and grabbed 2 Liguang City return cards. It is impolite to take other people's items directly from the trading desk. But Lin Moyu is not afraid that the other party will really take the Liguang back to the city card away. If he dares to grab something here, even the gods will not be able to escape. Lin Moyu turned his head to look at the other party, who was wearing a military uniform and standing upright. The face with Chinese characters exudes the aura of the King of Gods. On his epaulets, there are also stars engraved, but they are just 2 stars. Stars represent non-commissioned officers, who have left the ranks of soldiers and are regarded as small officials in the army. Normally, a first-rank non-commissioned officer would have hundreds of soldiers under his command to form a combat team. As a second-rank non-commissioned officer, his team of soldiers may exceed 200. What's the matter? Lin Moyu looked at him. From his gaze, there was only seriousness. This is an upright person, Lin Moyu has a feeling in his heart. The non-commissioned officer said in a thick and deep voice, I am the person in charge of the military merit department, Fortress Number 1, Meng Gang. Lin Moyu said, is there anything wrong with Sergeant Meng? Meng Gang said, I received a report from my subordinates that you were suspected of making military merits. According to military regulations, making military merits is a very serious violation. If found, it must be dealt with strictly. It is indeed unfair to many people to use military merits, and the military supplies are limited. If you use military merits to buy them, others may not be able to buy what they need. This can cause a cascade of adverse reactions. There have been some bad things in the past, some people made military achievements, and Yinwang bought some pills from the military. As a result, many people were unable to buy this elixir, and eventually a large number of deaths occurred during the mission. Finally, the reason was found out. The person who bought a large amount of elixir turned out to be a master of military exploits. Now making military achievements has been strictly prohibited, and all those who make military achievements will not only be despised by others, but will also be severely punished by the military. At the least, the military merits will be cleared and driven out of the battlefield, and at the worst, they will be beaten directly. The military's methods are very direct and violent, in order to prevent such things from happening again. The fifth-tier fighter just now not only despised Lin Moyu, but also reported Lin Moyu's matter to his superiors. As the person in charge of the military merit department of Fortress No. 1, Meng Gang naturally has the obligation to investigate this matter clearly. Lin Moyu chuckled, "Just because of my record, is there any evidence?" Meng Gang said in a deep voice, "You only have the cultivation base of the 4th level true god, but you have killed a large number of 9th level true gods, which is already contrary to common sense." Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. "Isn't it okay to leapfrog?" Meng Gang continued, "According to the records, you also killed a lot of powerhouses in the God King realm, including a 4th level God King. And according to the record, you only had the 2nd level of true god at that time. Do you think this is normal?" Meng Gang's words immediately caused an uproar. All the melon-eating people around showed expressions of disbelief. True God level 2, reverse/God King level 4, how is this possible? That's right, it's okay to fight by leapfrogging, but it's a bit too much for a true god to kill a God King by crossing one big realm and two small realms. People nowadays, how dare they make military achievements so unscrupulously? They really treat the army as a display. Being so unscrupulous, could it be that he has a strong family background? The people around, you say what you say, but no one believes that Lin Moyu can really leapfrog. Lin Moyu didn't care about these words. Then how do you investigate? Meng Gang said in a deep voice, "If you really have the combat power of the God King realm, just prove it." Lin Moyu glanced at Meng Gang. "What is the realm of Sergeant Meng?" Meng Gang said, "The 2nd rank of God King." Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes. "Then I killed you. Does that count as proof?" While speaking, the murderous look in Lin Moyu's eyes flashed. Meng Gang's hairs stood on end, and a chill came from his heart. As if Lin Moyu really had the ability to kill himself. What courage! You were provoking the military. A mere true god, how could he have such courage? Behind Meng Gang, several military personnel shouted loudly. Among them was the 5th rank soldier who previously settled the military merits for Lin Moyu, that is, the person who reported Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu looked at them with increasingly dangerous eyes. Meng Gang raised his hand and stopped his subordinates. "Our military has a way to prove it, we just need your cooperation." Lin Moyu said, "There is no problem in cooperating with you, but I also have a question." "Please say." Meng Gang's tone softened slightly, and he was much more polite than before. He was taken aback by Lin Moyu's eyes, and he couldn't help feeling that his attitude had changed slightly. Lin Moyu said, "You should investigate this kind of thing, but if you make a mistake, shouldn't you also give an explanation to others?" And just now, I didn't like the look in his eyes. As a human race, I have enough respect for the soldiers, but at the same time, we are also doing tasks, providing resources for the human race, and we also need to have enough respect for us. It has nothing to do with the level of cultivation or the size of the task. Everyone is a member of the human race. As long as it is beneficial to the human race, everyone is equal under the premise of interests. Quote, "Also, even if others don't make military achievements, wouldn't they be lucky enough to meet some enemy clans whose cultivation base is higher than their own and who are seriously injured? If you make up a knife like this, you will think it is abnormal, and you have to prove your clarity. Will it also chill the hearts of us practitioners?" While speaking, Lin Moyu's breath gradually increased. In the small world, he is also a general of the military, and he knows what to do and say to the soldiers. Soldiers can be overbearing sometimes, but overall they are reasonable. And you just need to be more reasonable and domineering than them, so that they have nothing to say. His words made sense, and Meng Gang couldn't make any rebuttals. Meng Gang had the illusion that what he was facing was not a 4th rank true god, but a high-ranking officer, and he was completely defeated in terms of momentum. He even kind of believed Lin Moyu's words. Maybe Lin Moyu could really fight across borders, and the true god turned against the king of gods. After Lin Moyu finished speaking, there was complete silence all around. The cynical voice just now suddenly disappeared, and the surrounding practitioners seemed to be resonated by Lin Moyu's words. Someone blurted out, "Yeah, last time I encountered 2 hostile races, they both suffered losses, and I took advantage of them. After returning, they were investigated for a long time. I have encountered similar things. As long as you kill an enemy stronger than yourself, you will be investigated. More than that, I was lucky. I picked up a corpse of the God King realm and brought it back. It was also investigated for a long time, and almost all the harvest was confiscated. That is, the army checked and asked us to prove our innocence. In the end, they didn't have to pay any price, which is really too much. Some people have eyes that reach to the sky, and they are defiant. They think that if they join the army, they can be superior. Many people resonated and turned to support Lin Moyu. Meng Gang's scalp felt a little numb for a while. Why did things suddenly go wrong? In a few words, good and evil are right. The person in front of him was a bit powerful, and with just a few words, he turned the world around and turned himself into a villain. Meng Gang bit his bullet. If we can prove that you didn't make military achievements, we will naturally give you an explanation. Lin Moyu smiled and looked kindly on his face, but he didn't let it go at all. What to explain? Let's make it clear first. Don't be so vague.